What innocent item gets suspicious if you own too much of it? Dog cages. For me, water. My neighbors had well water and would dry up. They asked if they could run a hose and put it in their well. They would pay what was owed. Did this a lot last summer, no big deal, they paid. Then they bought a big above ground pool, filled it for them. They always paid. My part was always around the same, so I wasn't bent out of shape. One day the water meter guy knocked with an officer wanting to know why I was using so much water. I explained, showed them many hoses to reach my neighbors, and they were there to help explain. They explained to me that much water usage was throwing a red flag, so they were sent out to investigate to make sure no marijuana growing was happening. Drain cleaner. My innocent mind decided that this wasn't for meth, but because this hypothetical person would then pour tons of drain cleaner down the drain to destroy all the plumbing they can. Pictures of a person, but it's okay if the person is Nick Cage. Canned air dusters. Some people like to get high off them. I worked at a pool supply store. They sell an extra strong peroxide as an alternative to chlorine. I don't know why, but we had to report large purchases to the FBI. Reported this guy after we used his customer info to search his address on Google Earth. It was rural and had a few different outbuildings. Seemed sketchy. FBI got back to us a few weeks later. He was using the chemical to clean animal skulls he bought from a slaughterhouse. Then he carved the skulls and sold them. The FBI lady said he showed her his whole process and it was pretty impressive. Cash. If you have too much cash, it's automatically an assumption that you traffic drugs in some way. I wait tables and used to live in my car. I got pulled over and the cops searched my car and found a few months worth of tips. I already was homeless. I figured I would save up or buy a house. The cops lifted my mattress and found $15,000 in small bills. Had my entire vehicle torn apart and not put back together, and it took like a month to get my cash back. Lube. You can buy a 50-gallon barrel on Amazon. One day I'm gonna make a really long slip and slide, submerge myself in the barrel, and slide. And they say the American dream is dead. Cough syrup. Oh yes mom, I have 30 bottles of Tussin for my chronic cough. Don't judge. Duct tape. I'm just practicing my kidnapping skills. I cannot actually kidnapping people yet. Fallout has taught me adhesive is rare in a post-apocalyptic world. I saw what I would describe as a suspicious amount of peanut butter in the bed of a truck once. I think 2 or 3 12-pack cases. Preppers like it because it lasts a long time, is calorie dense, and has lots of protein. I would say scissors, but that would be self-incriminating. So single socks. Bleach. Can I have 12 bottles of bleach, please? I saw a TIFU post about a guy who bought a bunch of pressure cookers on sale to give to friends as gifts. Turned out that set off some anti-terrorism flags. So I'm gonna go with pressure cookers. I mean, I understand the CT flag. Dolls. My grandma used to have about 70 porcelain dolls, old creepy ones. God bless her, but when she passed we donated them to the dump. As creepy as they are, those may have been worth finding a collective for. Freezers. Not if you have a farm. 3 freezers and 2 big fridges. Where else would you put all the meat? Cook them all and store them in my belly. Tampons. A guy we know hoards them because he thinks if the government collapses they will become a hot commodity that he can use to trade. I'm talking a shed full of boxes. All kinds. Unbeknownst to him, menstrual cups exist. And rags. Pseudoephedrine. What is that? The good cold medicine. It's also used to make meth. Mayonnaise. Just trying to learn a new instrument. Clocks. Either all exactly synced or all way off. My stepdad was a woodworker and his expertise was making clocks. There must be 25 of them at my parents' house. How do you avoid the constant ticking from driving you insane? Mirrors for sure. I've been in an elderly person's house where there was literally too many of them to count and it just feels weird. My mum has over 40 mirrors. I didn't really notice it, but a year ago when me and some buddies helped my parents move, they kept on joking about it. Oh, here's yet another mirrors. Are your parents worried about vampires or just vain? Kidneys. 2 is enough, 3 or more is going to raise some questions. Also could be genetics. Went to school with a girl that had 4 full working kidneys. She didn't find out till she had to get a scan for some reason. 10 years later, she still got the 4 kidneys. Cardboard cutouts. You have one cardboard cutout and it's a novelty decoration, but you have a room full of them and it gets a little weird. Perfect for when your parents accidentally leave you home for the holidays and you need to make it look like you're having a party to deter burglars. Lie. I make soap in a medium-sized home business. Because of this, I had to provide our local fire department with a blueprint of our house marking the location of where I store the 5-gallon buckets of lye. Spoons. I've got 28,000 spoons. Not different ones, all the same. They're all over the house, but I've also got a spoon room where most of them are neatly organized. You don't want a spoon mess, it needs to be neat. I love my spoons. Once in a while I will invite people and most of them pretend everything is fine. I think they are uncomfortable but don't dare say anything. None of them ever accepted a second invitation. Sometimes I feel lonely, and when this happens, I take one of my spoons, go to bed and we cuddle. This has always comforted me. But of course I don't have 28,000 spoons. That would be insane. Once my wife and I went to Dollar Tree. They had some very cheap pregnancy tests. We load up about 8 of those things. The cashier starts ringing us up and gives us a strange look. I looked back at her and said, "Stocking stuffers. I did this when we were trying to get pregnant. Why would I spend $12 on 2 to 3 tests when I could spend $12 on 12 tests and then double check with a digital test after a positive?" Candles. 1 to 2 if you like good smells and a little atmosphere. More than 5 you try to summon spirits on your free time. Or you're hiding a corpse. Phones, like one for personal use and one for work. That's normal, but if you own 20 of them, that's a little weird. Clicky pens. Apparently, I once was doing a personal project and I needed tiny springs. I knew my dad was going to be going around to some antique thrift stores, so I told him to get me a bunch of clicky pens. At one store, the guy watched as my dad was meticulously picking out all of those pens from a bowl of pens. He eventually said, "I'm gonna have to ask why you want those pens so bad." My dad explained and they had a laugh.